Hey guys, in this video I asked some people I look up to what their desert island kit would look like. For gearaholics like me who shoot with every piece of gear that we can get our hands on, whenever that age-old photography nerd question comes up, what is your desert island setup? Or if you could only shoot with one camera and one lens for the rest of your life, what would you choose? We sort of geek out. It's a fun exercise to be hypothetical with that sort of creative constraint. However, the world has changed, and not for the better. And at least for me, those days of wanton gear collection, haphazard buying, trying, and selling again so I can continue to buy and try, that all appears to be on hiatus. In fact, last month I had to rush to share with you my 20 favorite cameras, 10 digital, 10 film of all time. That video, because as painful as it was, I knew I was going to have to start selling off that collection. Boo-hoo, poor me. I know having too many toys and losing a few of them is a very privileged problem to have, guys. But financially, we definitely have taken a pretty significant hit at the Andrew and DENAE home, and so that was the reality. But it's bad everywhere, and for many of you, very, very much worse. So that question, what is your desert island kit, takes on new meaning. It has a little bit more of an edge to it. But it's a question that many of us are asking ourselves, either for fun or for survival. And with that strange dissonance playing in the background, I decided to ask a few photographers and thinkers that I really admire how they would answer that particular question. And in case you're wondering, yes, I will give you my answer also towards the end. But first, I'd love to share with you what they had to say.
Hi everybody, I'm Mathieu Stern. I'm a French photographer from Paris and also a YouTuber. On my channel, I speak mainly about weird and vintage lenses and also weird photographic experiments. Choosing one set to go on a desert island is pretty hard. I have more than 200 lenses and I love all of them. But more than one specific lens, I think I would choose a focal length, 35mm. Every time I travel, I take with me a 35mm lens. It's wide enough to shoot amazing landscapes, and at the same time, if you use a lens with a large aperture, it will be perfect for shooting portraits. Some of my top favorite lenses are my rare vintage 35mm, like the Canon FD 35mm f2.8 that I took with me to Iceland. Or even more rare, the Konica 35mm f2 that I took with me to Spain. If you like to experiment with weird cheap lenses, you can check my channel. I got a lot of amazing cheap weird lenses reviews for you to enjoy. See you!
Hi everyone, I'm Gordon from Camera Labs, and I'd like to thank Andrew and DENAE for inviting me onto their channel, and to thank you for watching this clip. If you've not come across me before, I've been a photographer and professional journalist now for over 25 years, testing and reviewing digital cameras, first in print for magazines and newspapers, and for the past 15 years or so online for my own Camera Labs website and for my YouTube channel. If you're after reviews of anything, do check them out, but obviously watch all of Andrew and DENAE's videos first. Now, during that time, I've tested and reviewed a huge amount of digital cameras, so I've got a pretty good idea of what I would like to be left with if I was stuck on a desert island. And the most sensible choice is to go for a camera that does it all, and that, for me, would probably be the Sony RX10. This is a bridge super zoom camera with a fixed lens, but what a lens it has! A 25 times range taking you from 24mm wide angle to 600mm super telephoto, making it ideal for those beaches and sunsets or close-ups of wildlife on the island, and thanks to an upgraded autofocus it will keep everything sharp too. Sure, the sensor's a bit smaller than the best cameras around, but that's what allows Sony to pack a 25 times zoom into a weatherproof body that's about the same size as a budget DSLR with a kit lens. Now that's the sensible choice, but who wants to be sensible? If I'm stuck with only one camera for the rest of my life on this island, I want one that I have an emotional connection with, one that actually really encourages and inspires me to go out and shoot, and the one that I've chosen is the Fujifilm X100V. Now I've been a big fan of Fujifilm's cameras for their great quality output with no post-processing required, and that's important if you don't have Photoshop on the island, and the X100V gives it to you in a compact body with a fixed lens that you'd be happy to carry around all the time. Now if you do have access to multiple lenses, then the X-T3 or 4 makes more sense, but if I'm only allowed one lens, then I'd be going for a mild wide angle, and the new 23mm lens on the X100V proved better in my test than the separate 23mm for the Fujifilm bodies, especially for close-ups of those exotic flowers. It also has a cunning hybrid viewfinder, good quality video, a tilting screen, great controls and weatherproofing as long as you've got the lens filter kit, but most importantly it's a camera that I simply love using, and that's critical if it's the only one you're going to have for the rest of your life. Besides, it'll make me look cool while I'm sipping on that coconut drink while lounging on my hammock. Well, at least that's how I imagine my desert island fantasy to be. Once again, thanks to Andrew and DENAE for inviting me onto their channel, and thanks to you for watching. See you next time.
Hey everybody, I'm Hugh Brownstone for 3 Blind Men and an Elephant. Andrew, thank you for such a creative prompt. Thanks for inviting me to participate. What would be the one camera and lens combination I'd take with me to a deserted island? Well, someone could hand me a Panasonic G9 with their 10 to 21.7 and I'd be happy. X-T4 with 16 to 55, 2.8, I'm recording right now with, happy. X Pro 3 with 16 or 35, 1.4, X100V, happy. Sony A7R4 with 35, 1.8, Nikon Z6 or 7 with 51.8, Panasonic S1 triplets with 51.4, Hasselblad X1D2 with 45p, Leica CL with 23.2 or 35, 1.4, Leica M10D with Apo Summicron 50, happy, 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 happy. But if I were to arrive on a deserted island, it would not be voluntarily. It would be more of a Tom Hanks falling out of the sky, modern day Robinson Crusoe with his sidekick Wilson kind of thing, on my way to someplace else. Back to one of the world's great cities, because that's where I feel most at home. It's where I shoot, where I connect, where I feel inspired. New York City, home of my birth and our workshops. London, my adopted home city for 3 years. Zurich may be our next home. Paris, Berlin, Rome. Okay, Tuscany. I'd be delighted, amazed, and grateful dropping out of the sky and washing up on the shores like that if all I had was my iPhone 11 Pro, which, let's get real, is already more of a camera than most of us will ever have on this mortal coil. Forget that it's waterproof. Its battery would last a lot longer than any dedicated cameras. It's got 3 lenses, all the resolution and frame rates I could want for that screen. Forget that it weighs nothing. I could edit my shots, watch Casablanca as many times as I wanted with no one to tell me enough. I could weep with joy and fear, reviewing a lifetime of photographs of family, friends, and moments of casual intimacy on the streets of New York and London, especially, as I prepared to die. Forget all about that because maybe, just maybe, a 1 in a gajillion shot, I'd be rescued by someone who had the boneheaded idea that Find My iPhone would somehow magically work, or by someone happening to cruise by with a Wi-Fi hotspot on their super yacht powerful enough to receive my constant, frantic SOS texts. Cue up Sting. I can tell you a few things. First, if I had all of that with me on that plane going down, as a YouTube reviewer, that's a lot more likely than you might think. And say we had to throw overboard all excess weight to keep it from ditching in the sea. The very last camera I'd throw overboard would be my own personal Leica SL2 with Summicron SL35. Put more prosaically, pragmatically, real world. If I had to sell some of our gear in order to help us survive the economic fallout we're experiencing from COVID-19, and like many others, who knows, we might, the very last thing I'd sell is that SL2 combo. Not just because it is superb in every way that matters to me, but because it speaks to me in a profoundly personal way. Second, right now, most of us around the globe are living on our own island. We are sheltering in place, at least those of us who have a place. Many don't. Last time I looked, 22 million people in the U.S. alone had filed for unemployment. At times like this, it becomes infinitely clearer what we can and cannot live without. Right now, more than anything else, we need each other, and science, and common sense. Of course, the thing about common sense, as Mark Twain famously said, is that it just ain't common.
Hi everyone, my name's Bellamy Hunt and I run Japan Camera Hunter. And Andrew and DENAE have been very nice and asked me to do a little video to talk about, well, we were going to talk about desert island cameras, and now I think we're going to talk about more cameras, personal cameras that I would perhaps keep, and one that I would sell, as it seems more pertinent in these uncertain times. So yeah, right into it. I have the camera that I keep, and I say I would keep this. This is my camera. This is the camera I use. This is the camera I hope to use for the rest of my life. It's my Leica MP6 with a 35mm Summicron. And I would say I'd keep this because the plan is to keep this until my dying day, and but as you know, the world changes very quickly and circumstances change very quickly. If I was put in a position where I had no choice but to sell this for the survival of, say, my family, then obviously I would. But for now, the plan is to keep it. I hope to keep it forever. It's the first camera I got for myself when doing this job, and it has a great deal of sentimental value to me. It's a milestone. Second camera, and this is the camera that I would sell, and this is the Canonet QL17 G3 Black Japan version. I collected these for a while. I had a load of them, and I decided to sell a lot of them off and kept what I considered the best ones, and this was one of the best ones that I'd found. Doesn't get used. It's a bit of a shelf queen. I would feel less sentimental value if this one went on its own somewhere else, so this would be one of the cameras that I would pare down. I have other cameras in my collection, but they don't really have any monetary value. I wouldn't be able to get anything for them. They're mainly sentimental value, family heirlooms, that sort of thing. So yeah, these are my two cameras that one would keep and one would let go. I hope you enjoyed hearing about my cameras, and I hope you're all staying safe and have plenty to do. Thank you very much for watching. Bye.
What are you doing?
Hey,
What's going on?
so you know how you made me sell all that gear?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, coronavirus made me sell all that gear.
Yeah, that was not my fault.
What if we just kept selling gear, theoretically, until we only had one body left and one lens left, and that was all we could shoot with for the rest of our lives? What would you choose to keep? Or what would you sell? I mean, if we sold everything, what would you buy instead? If you knew you only had one body and one lens.
Okay. XT3. Stick with Fuji. And my favorite lens is definitely the 56 1.2.
For everything. Pet photography, everything, the rest of our lives.
Yeah. I mean, it's the lens I usually take when I go do a photo shoot.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't take any other lenses.
Right.
And that's what I like. So I think I could be happy with that. I'm pretty low maintenance. I'm a minimalist.
Yeah.
I think I'd rather have the prime lens and just move my body.
We need to stop talking about this. You'll decide we want to go this direction anyway.
Yeah, if we could have it my way.
All right, we're totally done with this interview. So those were some extremely varied and very interesting answers, and I want to thank Hugh, Matthew, Gordon, Bellamy, and DENAE for allowing me to put them on the spot and for being part of this little collaboration. And not to diminish those answers, they were excellent, but I'm also sincere in telling you that I'm interested in knowing what you would say. So if you don't mind, comment below, or if you happen to be a video creator or thinking about becoming a video creator, answer in your own channel and let me know if you do that, so that I can watch your thoughts as well. But as for me, I mean, guys, if it was up to me, and if we're talking film, the answer is clearly the Nikon FE2, which fulfills my deepest soul's needs when I'm wanting to connect with my analog insides. But if we're talking digital, the X Pro 3 would probably beat out the X100V, only for one reason, and that is because it can be mounted to the 16mm 1.4, which is, as we all know, the greatest technological marvel in all of recorded history. But guys, you all heard it yourself that it's not up to me. My hands are completely tied in the matter of what we would use. It's gonna have to be the X-T3. But maybe I can somehow find a way to also slip this guy unseen past the gate check into the apocalypse. So yeah. There you have it though, answers to some of your deepest wonderings. Now I've got to face the next very difficult question. How am I going to explain to DENAE the arrival of the X-T4 next week? A difficult question to be sure, but one for another time. In the meantime, let's all try to find some ways to do good with our cameras, and we will talk to you again real soon.